Let's go over different types of variables, and we're going to go over the different levels of interest for a variable. So a variable of interest is a variable in the researcher's hypothesis. So this is a variable that the researcher is interested in. A confounding variable is a variable that the researcher thinks might affect the study, but it's not particularly of interest to the researcher. Also called a control variable. A demographic variable is a variable such as gender, ethnicity, nation, and age that help describe the sample of people. So these are just there to describe the sample. So we get an idea of what the makeup of the people are in your sample. Now let's go over some examples. We have 3 boxes here. This one's for the variables of interest, this one's for the confounding variables, this one's for the demographic variables. And let's categorize these different variables I have up top and put them in the correct box. So we're going to go back to our ice cream example and have the hypothesis that ice cream leads to happiness in children. So the first variable up here is age. Age would be a demographic variable. Now sometimes age might be a variable of interest or a confounding variable, but not in this case. So age is a demographic variable. Gender could also be a demographic variable. Oh, ice cream is next. And ice cream is in our hypothesis, so this is a variable of interest for the researcher. Next we have stress. It's not a variable of interest, it's not in the hypothesis, but it's also not a demographic variable. So it must be a confounding variable, and it's confounding because it might affect happiness levels depending on what stressful events happened earlier on in the day for those children. So, giving a child ice cream if they're stressed out might not work as well if the child's already content and didn't have a stressful day. So stress would be a confounding variable that you might want to control for. Flavor. So the flavor of the ice cream might be a confounding variable because depending on what flavor the child gets might change their level of happiness. So maybe some ice creams are better for this than others, so you might want to control for that. That's a confounding variable. Last, we have children. Where does that go? Actually, nowhere, because it's not a variable. See, children doesn't vary. Okay? So the other variables, like ice cream, you either get ice cream or not. Flavor could be chocolate, vanilla. Stress, you're stressed or not. Age, you could be 10 or 20, whatever. Gender, you can be male or female or transgender or whatever. But children does not vary. That's just your sample. That's just who you sampled. Okay? So remember, a variable varies.